Welcome to the Timeless Playbook. Thank you for listening.
Welcome to another episode of the Timeless Playbook. On this week's episode, Gitsuru Oscar, Mr. King. He will pronounce his surname properly because I keep messing it up. In any case, please make sure that you remember to subscribe, like, and share. Subscribing and commenting and liking really helps with content discovery. So you can find this episode anywhere where you stream your favorite music or audio or any place where you find podcasts. Mr. King, welcome to the Timeless Playbook.
It's a pleasure to be here, man. My surname is Moumakwe.
Moumakwe. You were explaining where that's from.
Like I was saying earlier, most of my family is from the East End, Guatemala, and and then I know some family from Secunda. I know some family from Pretoria. So we're not too scattered. We are within the vicinity, but
But Moumakwe itself,
it's not a common
surname. I've never heard this thing before.
It's not. It's one of those surnames. Every time I come across them, that person has to be a family.
For sure.
Because
it's very clear.
I don't know any. I've seen a famous name, famous person who uses the same name.
Yeah, Wando.
I don't know. It was a lady. I think she's top chartered accountant somewhere.
Okay.
But I'm still not sure. So I was trying to find out if maybe she's close to.
The chartered accountants, they may go up, bro.
I'm gonna try and find out.
You must stay close.
Yeah.
So my sister's one. I know this for fact. She's I love that.
Yeah, bro.
Because guap, hey.
It's there, Baba. It's a lot. So my family is really not too scattered. We are within, but at the same time we are not within because obviously families and staff and all that, So
it's the same.
Yeah, same thing all the time.
So you got 2 kids, brother. 4
got 2
and
kids,
5. You got a newborn.
I've got a newborn.
How's that going?
It's going well, bro.
Are you sleeping? Why are you taking so long to answer that question?
Because the way I am right now is I'm just trying to. It's almost like I tried to come up with the plan, but it didn't work out. So I'm going with the flow.
What was the plan?
So the plan was to I'm gonna come up with a schedule. Then this guy's gonna sleep at this time because now from the first one. That was not the case.
Yeah.
There we were going with the flow. We were whatever happens, happens.
Okay.
But it showed us flames most of the times. So now, with this new one, I tried to come up with the schedule, but consistency was the problem.
So I think I understand. Who's the schedule for? Is it for the newborn?
It's for the newborn.
How are you going to give him a schedule?
It was...
It's like you're going to force him, okay, now we need to...
You need to sleep
time
now.
Okay, so you do everything to make sure
now you eat and all that stuff, because... so now I came up with this thing. I was like, my guy, I'm going to feed you at latest 10 so that you sleep long. And that's been working out because... PM, yes.
Okay.
Because he eats, this guy. He eats throughout the day. He just eats, So it got to a point where... my wife was like, hey, this guy, breastfeeding is not enough anymore. He needs to eat, So we started him at 3 months, actually, because I was like, what are we going to do? Because he's eating, this guy.
What, 3 months? Was it normal food or just...
it was just, we would make your... So we don't give him... We don't buy him the stuff that, So
I'm a purity, the purity stuff.
Yeah, so we don't do that. So my wife has always believed that he needs to cook for the kids and stuff, So she would make her own purees, where she'll mix either butternut with carrot or something, So Cerelac. Cerelac is like rice type of thing. So she would take rice. Put it in a blender and then after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's, So I was like, oh, okay, I'm happy with that. So now she every day she makes like meals where like she knows, okay, she'll make a meal in the morning, meal during the day. So this boy, I think he eats like 4 times a day. And that's excluding breastfeeding because every now and then he breastfeeds.
Sure.
And yeah, so now I came up with the plan because I was like, if this guy's gonna only have his last meal at like 6, we're not gonna sleep because he's gonna get hungry and then we're gonna have to wake up thousands of times
to feed this guy.
And I was just like, I'm not having that. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna add an extra meal. He's gonna eat at 10. So what I do is I make sure that by 5 or 6 he's eaten, you know, so that when 10 hits, I know he's probably hungry. And
so are you keeping him up or does he just stay up?
No, he just stays up, this boy. He just decides I'm going to stay up, you know, because he will have a nap for like 15 to 20 minutes and then he wakes up. And then from there, he's on and on and on and on.
Does he sleep throughout the night though?
So sometimes he sleeps throughout the night. Sometimes, like even now, coming here, I was like, oh, this guy. He kept waking up like every 2 hours. And I was like, but I fed you, my guy. Like, what's going on? So I'm just like, so I think sometimes, I don't know, kids are kids, man.
Yeah.
They'll have moments where, I don't know, it's almost like they don't want to sleep or whatever.
Nah.
You know, because I remember one night, I woke up at like 2, 3 in the morning. I took him, we went to the lounge and we chilled there until he was tired.
Yeah.
And that was around like 4 or 5.
Sure.
And then we went back to sleep because I was like, it's of no use. This guy doesn't want to sleep. So I'd rather just go chill with him there.
No, I get that. I remember those moments. I always say sometimes I used to enjoy that, Jabo, because I'd be up at funny hours.
Yeah.
You know, so I didn't mind now waking up. So I'd get up. I'd do the same thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you sit. Yeah, bro. So now when you say the schedule thing, I also am a schedule guy. But what I'd do was, especially when they were young, if it was nap time, I would make sure that TV, switch off my phone. Like especially with the TJ, the first one, as you know, TJ's personality.
Yeah.
He would understand that. But the other guy.
No, guy. I'm telling you, bro.
This other guy.
Something happens with the second one. And probably the third one.
They go their own way.
No, bro. They choose their own way. Because with my daughter, bro, I never had issues. Well, my daughter also wasn't. So my daughter is so amazing, bro. She sleeps. She's just like me. When I say we are sleeping now, she sleeps, bro.
And I always ask Guti, what is it with firstborns? Do you think when we first have a kid, like all our energy and focus is on them?
Yeah.
Even though you don't have a plan, but you have a plan, right? I'm going to do this. I'm going to be good. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Second one,
second
you're
one,
a bit more relaxed.
Yeah. Because you're like, we'll see what happens and stuff, you know. Because with this boy, I was like, because now there's all these thoughts of, I need to be tough now. And the thing is for me, I'm like, hey, but this guy is still a kid though. Like, how am I going to be tough? And he doesn't even understand. If he wants to scream the whole night, he'll scream the whole night. It doesn't matter how tough I am on him.
And you're a psycho.
Stuff.
Trust me. At that age, you become a psycho.
It's a crazy thing ever,
and your own point is 3, right? So I tried to do the same thing. The guy doesn't hear me.
Nah, bro. It's not.
You try everything, and the brother would hear.
Yeah.
And brother would be like, no, but daddy said. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
And then Tessa will be like, no, but dude, he's 3. You realize that,
right? Can't too much. Even with my daughter, we'd have moments where like I would feel like she's not listening to me. And then I would go crazy because I'm like, I can't have a child who's not gonna listen to me, you know. And sometimes I think because my wife in most cases would be like, bro, you need to build a relationship with this child, you know. So yes, it won't always be nice, but in everything you need to try, maybe also from your side learn, you know, while you're trying to also teach her some stuff, you know, because it's of no use to grow up the way, like for your kids to grow up the way you grew up.
Exactly.
You know, because my mom once gave me a blue eye, bruh. And he once gave me a blue eye. And when I think of those moments, I'm like, actually, that was abuse. But, you know, then it wouldn't look like abuse because it would be, okay, what's the story behind? No, I took some coins in her bag and then went to buy sweets and all that stuff. And then she lost it. And so when I think of those things, I'm like, shucks, I don't think that's the relationship that I want to have with my kids.
100%.
You know, I want my kids to grow up knowing that even no matter how I scream at them, but they still know how much like they mean to me.
Yeah.
You know, they still know how much I love them and stuff. You know, because most of us, we grew up tough, man. Like, we grew up tough, and it's good now. Like the world, in as much as it's cruel, but it's opening up to like a lot of things. You know, people are being open to certain things. You know, because these things affect you like psychologically.
You carry them for a long time.
Bruh,
Sometimes hours.
You don't know, bro. Like I was saying earlier that, I mean, I failed grade 9. And now when I look back and I'm like, shucks, it's because I found out that I had to meet this guy. And
so before we get into that, you're saying that you didn't know your biological father.
I didn't know my biological father.
And 2 weeks before you met him, he passed away.
He passed on.
And you say the first time you met him was when?
On the coffee.
That was the first time.
That's the first time. So, I mean, this guy, from what I hear, when they separated with my mom, I was like around 2, 3. And obviously then, I don't know, maybe, but he would still be involved in some way. Because at some point, apparently, he started having some mental issues, you know, so, and they kept getting worse. You know, to a point where he couldn't even work anymore. He couldn't engage with people. So he would be in his house, in his room, like almost every day, doing nothing. You know, so I guess, there was a whole thing that maybe he even forgot that I actually have a child. And to think that I was the only child and I'm a boy, I'm thinking, you know, and maybe if this thing was happening now, maybe he would have fought, you know, to make sure that he like comes up in some way. Because I have a boy.
Sometimes I hear what you're saying, which is nice of you, by the way. Sometimes. But also, because I can understand, and I've said this before on the podcast, that there is a trauma that our fathers went through during that particular time.
Yeah, definitely.
In a lot of ways, at work, being emasculated, it's apartheid, things are tough.
Really
but I think that era, it was okay to not be a present father. It was almost accepted. Because you're going to the mines or Spana or whatever. The environment allowed it. It's harder for us. Like if you're not a present dad at our age, it's weird.
It's weird.
Like
bro.
Where are you? Are you in a mine?
Like, there's no apartheid.
There's no apartheid. You're not a migrant laborer. So the environment now is different. Now it's forcing us to father differently.
Actually,
so that's what I'm saying. I'm very curious. I think the next level of this podcast is to speak to that generation.
Definitely.
Because as a generation, I'm very curious because there is no guy. There's only one guy in this podcast whose father was present. But obviously now his upbringing was different. It allowed for that.
It allowed.
Bonke. Without faith.
There's no relationships.
There's no father.
There's no nothing.
And all of us are around about the same age. It's about mid 30s to 40.
Sure.
So I haven't had anyone under 30 or like 45. So it's all around the same age group.
Guys, there's a lot of things that we that we had to deal with.
But what they miss is the fathers. I think even that generation is like we're talking about now, how much we carry that. You know,
we carry it,
and sometimes it acts out differently. Right? Sometimes other guys are like, my father was like this, therefore I nam again.
And bruh. And recently I was having a chat with some guy, you know, and he was like, he mentioned the same thing, that the upbringing was, but he put it straight. He was like, our fathers were awful. It doesn't matter how traditional they are or how cool they were in their times and stuff, but they were awful, because when I was sharing with him around the story around my stepdad and how we grew up with him and stuff, he was like, yeah, bruh, I mean, I could understand that maybe he was trying to be a father, but like there's being a father and find ways to like communicate.
Yeah.
So you can be traditional, but you can speak. You have a mind, you have a mouth, you can speak. You can say that, Eish, my boy, can we have a chat? I wanna chat with you. Okay. Then you can be traditional, but also at the same time be, a loving person. You can't be traditional only. Don't think,
one way.
because the thing is now, even with your life, you're not living your life on one way. Sometimes you have to change things, because if you go in that one way, there's a T-junction and it's closed on both sides.
Yeah.
Like what happens now?
Yeah.
Because you have to find a way. So, I mean, like, I'm really trying to like learn some of the stuff. I'm really trying to unlearn some of the stuff. Because there's nothing wrong with being traditional. I think the problem becomes when you don't engage the way that you need to, because I remember when my stepdad, like, so I've been a musician like almost all my life. And there was a time where I started in high school. And then 3 years in, like, so I play drums. So 3 years in, I'm playing drums. It's nice. It's going well. Then I start doing gigs. It's like, I think I started doing gigs after like grade 9 or something, Grade. So then already the relationship was a bit dodgy, like stuff was happening. But I was like, he's just being a dad, uzoshinga vele, he has to pull a face, because masakula there was that whole thing with velu baba mele ashinge, so I always thought that was the case. But as I grew, there was a time where I went to buy myself clothes because he wasn't buying me clothes, and when that was happening, I was like, okay, because now I'm doing gigs, let me just go.
Yeah, you're still in high school.
I was still
making
in high
some
school.
cash.
Yeah, hey, bruh. So now come back. I show my mom. I'm like, Mom, I bought clothes, and So my mom was like, oh, that's good. That means you're doing well, as a mom, So, and then he was like, yeah, when your dad comes back, you must show him what you've done. Yo, bruh. I remember I was excited. Hey, this guy. Get to him later on, he comes back and he's a taxi driver also. So, like most of those guys are like...
You must keep the reputation, even nothing clean.
So now, I come back later, I show him the stuff. I'm like, hey, I bought some stuff, and this is from the money that I made from the gig that I did recently. This guy kept quiet, bruh, and he looked away. So now I'm standing there, I'm looking at my mom, because I'm like, what happened? That's what's going on. Like, I'm tipanga or anything, I was trying to think, it's okay, what's going on at that moment?
Yeah.
Bruh, that guy went quiet for like almost a minute or so. And he was like, okay, so is this all you can do in the house? I'm like, okay, now I didn't know how to respond.
How old are you this time?
I'm 15.
You.
15. Yeah. I'm 15 at that time. If not 16. Yeah, I was around 15, 16. So it's like, is that all you can do in the house? And bruh, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if you wanna teach your kids on responsibility, you do it with with grace, you do it with love.
Yeah.
You know, you don't just say, "I."
So how did that conversation finish?
Bruh, that conversation was like, mina angikwazi ukuthi wenzani. So angiboni into enzile.
So
And
his
that's
thing that time then, because his ego was bruised, angithi akusiyo thing izinto, was to put you down.
Yeah.
That was his thing.
In a way. And I mean, so I can tell you now, most of my families, when they would have a chance to listen to this, they wouldn't agree.
Yeah.
Because Bona, they think he was trying to be the responsible guy who's trying to take care of a child who's not really theirs and stuff.
Yeah.
You know? And I remember I had a conversation with my uncle, and my uncle was like, I mean, we know your situation with your dad and stuff, you know, but yeah, he's a man. He's running his household the way he wants to run it, you know. And no one was coming to say, like, are things working out? Even my mom, bro. My mom couldn't fix that whole thing. You know,
and is he still alive? Do you guys?
He's still alive.
You talk? Have you had
so
a chance?
we don't really talk, man. Like I can tell you now, I call my dad-in-law more than I do with him. With him, I'll probably call him maybe if I'm looking for my mom. I can't find my mom.
Yeah,
then I'll call him. I'll be like, hey, what's happening? Are you guys good? Like, yeah, no, we're good. So I'm looking for my mom and stuff like that. Oh, no, I don't know where he is. She and stuff. You know, that's it. Then when I usually go home, get there. Great. Hey, how's it? Sure. How things going? Things are going good. You know, it's only now. But I wouldn't be able to do that then.
Before.
Yeah. Because we would basically be in the same house, but it would be quiet.
Yeah, Njay, you can't.
It would be quiet. I'll be in my room. He'll be in the dining room or something, just chilling there watching TV.
How cool are we? And when did you move out of home?
So I moved out of home officially in 2016 when we got married with my wife.
Okay.
Yeah.
And during this whole time, 2016 is not a long time.
Yeah,
ago.
it's not.
The relationship they saw.
Yeah.
And what were you making of it?
So, obviously there was a lot of feelings and a lot of emotions. You know, number one, I felt like, maybe fairly I wasn't supposed to have a dad. Number two, it was the whole worthiness thing. Really, that means I'm not worthy of, you know, having like a proper family and stuff, you know. And then there were feelings that I had, you know. There were I wouldn't really say hate, because at the end of the day, he still allowed me to stay in the house, and I still ate the same food. You know, I still used the bed in the house and stuff. So I don't think it was hate. I think it was some sort of like resentment, because I'm like, I would have, maybe this is pushing it, I would have rather slept in the streets, you know, than to be in a house where like you don't know what your position is.
And then your mom, you guys ever spoke about this like during that time, even when you got older?
Bruh, my mom, I don't know, man. And the thing is, my mom, I almost feel like she would want to defend him in some way, but it wouldn't work out, because she would defend him and then there's events. Every time, like she would say, no, you're dead. He's stressed right now and all that stuff. But to me, it didn't look like stress. Yeah. And the thing is, to be honest, it's not fair to see you're stressed and then you take it. Exactly. Yeah. That's all. Because now, if I have to get to a point where, like, at the age of 15, 16, now I'm buying my own clothes, you know, and you're not even teaching me that, okay, like, when you get money, at least maybe share 200 with us.
Yeah.
You know, so that
this is what you can. Yeah.
Nah, bro. Like, that guy was not having that. That guy wanted me to know responsibility without being taught.
Teaching you. And
but
then
15, like, what am I learning at 15?
Sure.
Because I'm just a boy who's just a boy.
All of us at 15.
Exactly.
If you come into money, there's and to your point is that no one ever said, listen, more sevens, this is what you need to do.
Yeah.
You understand?
No one.
But at least my mom would say, okay, and then do this, do that. But if I'm thinking, if I was 15 years old and I came into money, which I used to, like I was on a bursary, and then they'll give me a stipend. I used to box that thing.
Exactly.
Take my pizza, buy sneakers. But I didn't know I was doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Like I had no idea.
Because no one was there to say.
Yeah, but it was also like, when do you have siblings?
I have siblings.
Okay, we'll get to how it was in the house. When you've got siblings and then kulela la for ruminyana, you know yourself. Something. Because as soon as you walk in the house,
it's over.
It's gone.
You can't.
You've got a bit of money.
Enjoy.
Hey, when I get a bit of money, I keep them out.
That was me, bro.
So you're Southgate. Get McDonald's. You shy come home. In hindsight, if we're all taught better, imagine if I had that, I don't know what it was that time, Big Mac, whatever. Had this. If we all knew that, okay, bring it all home, we could probably get a better meal, cook, share, we could even bond. I didn't know that. We were just taught to do your own thing.
And that was the case even. So, Mina, I wouldn't really say I was taught anything, bro. I think for me, what made my life take a turn and at some point was because of the people that I met, like as I go on. I had friends who grew up in like good families, and even though they didn't understand where I was at, but they would try putting ideas, would say, okay, in as much as that thing is happening, but don't grow up with it. Try to maybe visit proper families, where there's like a dad and a mom and so that you can see.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah.
It's very funny.
And I always say, make the statement, I didn't know that shit until I met my wife and her family.
Bro.
I've never in my life at a young age, besides the kids that I went to high school with, I'd go there because I went to, it's a private school.
Yeah.
So you'd obviously see families and whatever.
Yeah.
But in terms of someone I know very close, only with her did I see a family with the father there.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It's not like it's weird.
Yeah,
no, Baba Magangena.
It's fine.
Every family that had a father, as soon as Baba Ngena, tamala kulfikile ndoda.
No,
it's a vaya man.
It's a vaya team. And that's not nice, bro. That's not nice because I'm like, I don't want to be that person. Mina, like, I really love people. I really love meeting new people, because there's always something to learn.
Yeah.
And especially, bruh, if you want to start a family, it's all great, but you need some external stuff that are happening around you. So, but not in a way that they would influence you in a way you would see, maybe you become a different person. But the thing is, most of the stuff that I do is mostly out of inspiration, from what I see from other people and stuff. Seeing a family of 5 and all, they smiling, they laughing and all that stuff. Those things inspire me because I'm like, sure, like one day I want to have a family. Now, even if no man 35, they can still come home and say, yo, Dad, like,
hey, that's all our dream, eh?
Bruh,
hey, that's
that thing is amazing, bruh. I haven't lived it, but I'm like, it's amazing. And even now with my daughter, when she's not feeling like herself and stuff, she'll come and she'll give me a hug.
Yeah.
Without even me saying come.
Yeah.
Because I've already created the whole thing with anytime you feel whether we are cooler, whether whatever happens, just come. It's fine. Don't and the thing is it needs to be practiced now. So that later on it's not a weird idea.
Yeah,
because imagine if your dad was gonna come and now he's giving you hugs and kisses and stuff.
Even now, besides my dad, my mom, like, I don't know affection from my mom.
Yeah,
Like, we're not an
bruh.
affectionate family.
Oh,
It will be weird. Like if I wake up and it's weird. You don't do that.
and I don't know why it's such a,
Because we never grew up with it. And it becomes so it becomes part of who you are, and that's how you relate to whatever situation.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing, because also with my mom, I mean, sometimes I would come and like do a side hug,
and then but still,
kissing. Mara, like it's still, it's not a, it's not, like it's a, So now, and those things, I'm like, they need to change. My daughter needs to be able to give me a kiss when she wants to, give me a hug when she wants to. It can't be a thing with njalo makabuya. It's a thing. Hi.
And then you
and because the thing is now, we need to, as families, we need to create communities where like nothing feels weird about loving, loving your family, loving your children, loving the people around you.
100%.
It can't be a case of we're feeling weird about certain stuff.
Yeah.
Hence you were saying earlier that like it's weird to be a father who was from 1980 right now.
Yeah. No, you can't.
Right now you need to come up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I hate using the whole man up thing because Naeleo, it's got its own things that I just feel like it messed up with the generations.
By the way, before you get into that, sorry to interrupt. Tell me, how was the relationship with your Kitlar King stepfather?
Yeah.
And how many siblings you got first? So and how was the relationship?
So I've got an older sister. So my mom had her when she was very young. And then there was another sister that I had who died. She was also like, my mom also had her very young. But I think the age gap is like 5 years from each other. So I think my older sister is like 40-something, 45, around there. And I mean, the relationship with me and her,
By the way, how come we never know our older siblings' ages?
It's because they're old, man. Like they're older than us, and it's like I never ask in terms of age because I'm like, I'll figure it out as we go, So even not today, like I still don't know how old my sister is, but I know like she ungdlula like many years, many years. And then my younger siblings are like 20, they turned 25 this year actually. That means Nabo, I'm 10 years older than them. But I relate more to them than with my sister.
Yeah.
And I don't really find it weird. My thing with them was actually I don't want them to think they can't reach me, because I'm way older than them. So there is a relationship.
But you have a youthful spirit in any case.
Yeah.
But I mean, my interaction with you a lot is that you where our kids go to school together.
Exactly.
And then you teach music there.
Yeah.
But they love you.
Yeah.
You have the thing. And some people have it. Like my wife has it with young people. Yeah. I don't have it at all.
It's not bad because the thing is, it's almost like in this life. I mean, I always say there's people who are gonna do stuff on your behalf, and sometimes knowingly, sometimes unknowingly.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Nami, it took a while. Because of my upbringing, it took a while to actually, be in a space where like there's a lot of kids and I'm feeling energized.
Yeah,
it's the craziest thing ever. Like whenever I walk into a room and it's full of kids, like I become a different person. And I think that's because something happened when I was growing up with all these negativities.
But you still explain, sorry, before how the relationship was. I want to know with your siblings.
With my siblings and my stepdad, I wouldn't really say it's stable, but because his kids, he obviously reacts.
So you're the only one that was not his kid?
With my older sister. My older sister was not, but they had a good relationship with my sister because he took her to school. you know, and my sister went to
Is she a
school.
good girl? Is it those ones like
My sister,
focused?
when she only became focused after 30, bruh. Before then, no, it was rough. My mom, there was a time when my mom shipped her to my aunt, who's her older sister, in Mpumalanga, because that's how tough it was.
And that comes with its own drama.
Yeah.
How many kids do we know today that
Bruh.
like ukhule no aunties banbani,
Bruh.
and then you don't know your name, you thought that was your mother.
Exactly.
That's
a
another
lot
story.
of things. But luckily with my sister, it happened when I think she was in her teenage years. Because my sister is a teenager, bruh. And the thing is, and last week when I was having a conversation with this guy, I'm like, I don't understand why my relationship is so bad with my stepdad. And that was so funny.
We're recording, my boy.
This guy. This is what we have to do.
This is what we're trying. Can we please record, my boy?
And then next thing.
Okay, go pee, my boy.
Yeah, so I'm like, and this thing comes back Kabanga recently, bruh. And I'm like, bruh, like, why did you have a problem with me when our benga pools, benga pay, ne? Yes, benguye ebusuku, and ubuya kwami ebusuku is because in a way I was working. You know, I wasn't being funny, or I knew that there's a curfew at home, you know, but when I'm not working, I'm home by 8.
So you had this conversation with him?
No, I didn't.
Oh, is that what you were thinking?
I was thinking, bro, because I was having a conversation with the guy last week.
Yeah.
When we were talking around dads.
Yeah,
you know, because I told him that I'm actually going to a podcast and we're gonna be talking about fatherhood and stuff like that. You know, and so now he mentioned a couple of things. When I looked back, I was like, but guys, what did I do wrong? You understand? So now I'm starting to deal with the whole thing of, actually, there's nothing wrong I did. You know, there's nothing wrong I did. Benga poozi, benga pay me. You know, and I like alcohol me kale just when I got married. I never touched alcohol.
Was it the marriage, ne?
Was
Your
the
wife
marriage,
drove you
bro.
to drinking.
Not really, but in a good way though.
In a good
In
way.
a good way, because the thing is, when we'd have dinner,
It's okay. It's okay.
It was
King.
boring
My
for
wife
her.
drives me to drinking
Yeah,
too.
okay.
Hey,
Like-
nyaputahaza when things are rough.
luckily
No,
for
I'm
me,
joking, baby.
So for me, I was like, and I look at how my sister was. My sister gave my mom hair, bruh. And that guy was already there.
Yeah.
By then, they were married by then. But I'm like, so me, and when you guys got married, you left. Ne? You were not far, but you were around. But you
Your
left.
sister.
My mom.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my dad, they left. Ne? So I took it upon myself to actually go and pursue a relationship with them. You know, because I was like, I mean, you've got my mom, so I'm guessing you'd also like to have
Tell
me.
me, yeah.
You know, so I went and I started staying with them. You know, so I don't know if the issue was I'm the one who went and pursued the whole thing, or was it? But even when I came there, bruh, I didn't bother anyone.
Yeah.
I wasn't bothering anyone. I'd go to school, come back to school, do my homeworks if I have to, help with whatever in the house, do the house chores, go play soccer, come back, I'm home by 7, 8, you know. Bruh, even if I can ask him now, he remembers very well. I've never come home smelling like alcohol or dacha or anything like that. You know, because I knew Uti, he wasn't drinking, he wasn't smoking.
Yeah.
You know, so that was almost a thing of, okay, that's one thing that I need to learn. This guy is not doing all those things, so I need to watch myself. You know, even though I would be around friends who would be doing all those things, but I wouldn't do it because I'm like, and now when I think about it, I'm like, yeah, but guys, no, this is not cool.
So you know what I make of that? So and I think this is the age-old question that we all go through. I mean, I went through that when I was younger also. Like, what did I do wrong? I think every kid goes through that. And I confronted my father a couple of times.
Yeah.
I was a very aggressive young man.
Ish.
But the funny thing is for me, every time I confronted my father,
Yeah, and that's just
Young tall.
it's gonna be another conversation.
no, you didn't have a conversation. My father used to get fucked drunk.
That's-
Not like sialwa type stuff.
Like,
he's
go
gone.
on,
Like there's
go
nothing
on.
there.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember one time, and I was like, yeah, today I'm gonna go. I don't know what was happening, but we're gonna try whatever. I don't know if it was a party or I can't remember.
Yeah.
But my dad was so drunk, bro. Like I had to drive him home with a friend of mine. You know, and he pissed himself in the car.
Shucks, guys.
And that was that. It was Mzotin.
Damn.
So what I realized then when you get older is that this thing is on them. Whatever happened, it's got nothing to do with you.
Like nothing to do with
They had
us,
a different set of value systems. Things were important to them that you guys didn't click on.
Yeah.
But also now I'm like, that situation, what was it teaching me? What was it preparing me for? Because I don't think if I went through that, I would never be the father that I am.
No.
So for me, the realization came later. I was like, the kind of man I want to be is completely opposite to my father.
Yeah.
And that drives me to ensure that I am never anything like that
Anything like that guy.
Whatever I remember of him, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
I want to be there for my kids. I want to be this kind of person. I have my own value system. So it's got nothing to do with you. It's on them. And whatever trauma they went through, I'm starting to understand it, but it doesn't absolve them of that. Yeah.
At all.
But also like every tough moment that you go through, for me, it's like, what is working in my favor in this situation?
Yeah.
Young
Because
Tol.
there has to be something.
So
There has
in
to
a
be
greater
something.
scheme of things, like we spoke about earlier, greater scheme of things, later on, now that I wanted to integrate back into the family again, because as bigwanga,
I know that stuff.
family didn't know us, Slabanga, Yangtwala, Zanga Hlaule, all these things. We did that in hindsight last year when he was dead and passed away. But what that meant was I went into that situation with an open heart and an open mind, meaning that I was receiving everything that was happening.
Yeah.
You know, I have a better relationship now with my aunts. I'm better, even though Angangeni fully the family, but it's better now. Like if it happened then, I would be like, Angfunu Guyenza, the spirit is wrong. So in that sense, then you discover yourself and a family, but also you learn how to be a better person. You know, it's like having a shitty boss.
Yeah.
I don't always think having a shitty boss is a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It's up to you how you do this thing.
Yeah.
But what am I picking up from this guy? You know, I have had a lot of bad bosses. What they taught me was not how to do business. But also what it teaches you is it either drives you then to be like, I'm going to go find another job, which is a good thing. But also it teaches you, okay, Mang Sebenza, because this guy's like this, I need to check myself. So what do? You double check your work. You work harder. You do this. So not everything that you deem as negative is bad for you.
It's bad for you. Exactly.
And everybody, I always said that I've had people that work under me and they're like, no, but you did this, you did that. But I'm like, look at you now, right?
Look at where you
Good
at.
or bad. But remember, if we didn't go through that, you wouldn't have been like, fuck this, I'm leaving. Now you've got a better job.
Exactly.
If things were comfortable, there's a good chance that you would have never left. Young Tol. So our fathers are who they are. We definitely can choose who we want to be.
Bruh, for me, I'm just like, so I'm really happy with how my life is turning out right now, you know, because also stuff that I decided to go for, like as a man, just as a man, like they've come through because of the mentality that I had, you know, and also like, and the thing is when I look at my family, I'm just like, actually, I look at my uncle, bruh. Like my uncle has 2 kids. I mean, he's got one outside of marriage, you know, and I look at them, bruh, and I think that's one of the things where like there was an idea that was being planted in, because I think if there were no moments around happening, you know, or there were no stuff happening around my life, I'd probably want to be almost like the same as my dad.
Yeah.
You know, although, and sometimes life will show you some stuff. Sometimes you have these things that oh no, I don't want to be like this. And the more you grow, it's almost like the more you
become that thing.
And for me, I was just like, because I remember I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, like back, I think it was way before I got married. He reminded me of that thing. He was like, bruh, be careful of that thing. Like, I understand you guys didn't have a great relationship, but I think from this situation, there was a lot that you needed to learn.
Yeah.
So if you can sit down and reflect back on all the stuff that happened,
exactly,
you need to think, okay, how do you wanna view your life from now on? You know, how do you wanna treat your kids, you know, and stuff. Stop focusing on the fact that, yeah, I don't wanna be like my dad. I don't wanna be like that. I need to do, because now you'll end up
like your dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You understand? So like every day I remind myself that, okay, I want to be like this. I want to be like this. There's no, I don't want to be like this. I don't want.
Yeah.
My dad
So it's not
used to
coming
be like
from a
this.
negative.
You know. So because even before I got married and stuff, like the funniest thing, bruh, my dad, I could say he's really fond of my wife, and I'm just like, that's such a weird idea, bruh. You know, because when I introduced her as my girlfriend, like my dad even smiled, you know, and I was just like, okay, but I'd never seen that smile with me, you know. So I'm just like, okay, it's fine. Like,
do you want to have a conversation with your dad one day,
bruh? Bruh, I don't know, bruh.
You don't know?
I don't know. And when I think about it, it's not that I dread her wanting to have a conversation, because I think now I have a whole lot of confidence to actually face him and say, bruh, you were awful, bruh. You know?
Yeah.
You were there, but you were not really there. You know, because when I struggled with something, I couldn't speak to anyone. You know, I couldn't speak to my friends. I couldn't speak to anyone, uncles, whatever. You know, and the only person that I lived with was you. So who was I supposed to tell at that time? You know, because I'm young and you are older than me. So what must happen?
Do you think the conversation will help?
No, it won't.
It won't help.
Guys, the guy is Ndebele, bruh.
Meaning?
A very traditional Ndebele. Like, we don't have conversations. I'm older than you, and whatever I did was right. So there's no, we are going to have a conversation now, and nah. Even no matter how, it would be worse even if I say, can I have a conversation with you? I did some stuff. Bruh, it would go south.
Yeah.
You know, because most of our dads, like, they don't want to let go of certain things because they know if they become vulnerable, it's going to be an issue for them. Because now it's going to make them seem weak. Because the whole weakness thing now is another thing. Which is like, yeah, we don't want to be weak, but for your wife to get to you, for your kids to get to you, they do need to see you sometimes in your weaknesses.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that mabakula.
No doubt.
The idea of being weak is not a weird idea.
And it's not even being weak, like you said. It is being vulnerable.
Exactly.
You're human.
You know.
Yeah.
So if I've cried in front of my wife before, you know, but I don't remember crying in front of unless maybe someone died in the home in the family, and we all there crying and stuff. But to cry over something maybe that happened to you or whatever, never done that, you know. And for me, I'm just like, I need to be in a place where my kids know that, okay, being vulnerable is fine.
It's okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
You know, you can be there, and it doesn't make you less of a person. Instead, you grow even, you know, more confident in yourself.
Yeah.
You know yourself better and stuff. You'll know the things that work out. You know the things that don't work out.
There's a lot of teaching that you have.
Hey, bruh.
You know, and I think you make a very good point that, I mean, we were obviously taught, me especially, that like crying is a no-no,
No.
right? And it's just conditioning. And I don't want that for my kids. Like there's a lot of stuff of how I grew up that I don't want for my children.
Yeah. No.
No.
You know, the truth about it is that in as much as we don't have to focus on it, but there's a lot of things that we need to like cut out.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
the funny thing is this though. If I don't confront it,
Yeah.
then I can't teach it.
Yeah.
Because
you can't.
I'm battling with it.
Yeah.
Young tall.
Exactly.
It's like saying
It's
to my kids, be vulnerable, be emotional, but I'm not. Young tall.
and it doesn't work. Like
Yeah,
that.
so
Doesn't work like that.
that's why for me, and my wife says that kids are magic. That's why, even when my first one was born, is that it gave me a chance to reflect and think about who I am and who I want to be.
Exactly.
And all these things that I want my kids to go through, I myself, to an extent, have to go through themselves.
Go through them. Yeah.
Right?
Because
so
you can't teach what you don't
no,
know.
you can't. So you have to talk, for
Yeah.
example. You have to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
You have to do all these things. So, my man, if that's what I'm saying, like our fathers missed out. Like if you don't,
bro,
you know, if you don't embrace yourself in this process, like for me, I don't see any other thing.
Yeah.
Young tall. Like I was explaining to someone about work and making money and this and stuff, and I was like, if you can understand, because that person doesn't have children.
Yeah.
Once you have kids, ne?
Yeah.
There is nothing else, right? Like nothing matters.
Else, yeah.
You can buy the car that you want. You can have the house.
Exactly.
Your kids will appreciate your car even more, right?
Yeah.
They love the house.
Yeah.
They'll do the stuff. But the magic is in seeing them grow,
Exactly.
in becoming a person, having the conversations. Nothing fulfills you more,
Yeah.
right?
Than
just that
seeing
connection
kids,
you
yeah.
have with these people.
Yeah.
That's the magic.
Yeah.
Like nothing matters. Like me, a lot of things, Chief, I don't give a shit about.
Aye, bro.
Like genuine.
Bro, you know that thing, ne? I remember we were driving one time. We were driving from a gig somewhere. And we started talking about dads and stuff, you know. So I was in the car. I was the only guy who didn't really have a proper conversation when it came to that. And then I was listening to this guy saying, yo, bruh, I love my dad, man. Yo,
Hey.
bruh, the thing, yo. Bruh, I don't know what was going on then.
Yeah.
Something in me just sparked. You know, I don't know if it was anger or it was sadness or whatever. But I was like, yo, this is one conversation I can't be part of because these guys, you know, are talking about how they love their dads, you know. And I remember, so the one guy was from Zim, so he would go every now and then. But he says that every time when he has to come back, it's so hard. Like he cries the night before.
Wow.
He has to leave because he's thinking, shucks, I was having such a great time with my dad and now I had to leave. Like, I'm going to miss all of this because he would go home for like a week or two and then the rest of the year he's here, let's say, working and stuff, you know. But, and when I think about those things, I'm like, it's that whole thing. It's the connection thing. You know, he doesn't care if his dad lives in a farm, he doesn't have money and all that stuff. But it's the whole thing that every time he goes home, there's that connection with his dad.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'm just like, yo, guys, this is so weird because this guy is he's my age and he's talking about how he loves his dad, you know. And for me, I was like, yeah, no. Because when I found out his dad used to, the farm used to like operate so well. They had money and all that stuff. But at some point, they lost all of that, you know. So his dad almost now had like a pensioner and stuff and the mom, you know. But for me, I'm just like, so don't you think like it was frustrating to like lose all, he was like, bro, I didn't care about those things. My thing was, I still had my dad. I'm glad that I didn't lose my dad because he could have died you know, from losing those things.
Hey, my man.
You know, and it would have been a different idea. I would have been, shucks, my dad, that means my dad didn't love me that much. You know, for him to die for stuff, you know. So I was just like, when you talk about the whole connection and stuff and magic, I'm just like, that's where it's at. That's where it's supposed to be. You know, when
so
you
if you think about it now,
Yeah.
like the way your kids love you, well, the way my kids love me, and then they call me daddy or whatever. I love that shit, by the way. Especially when Mpo says my dad. Like, yeah, I'm your dad.
yo, bro,
You know?
nothing feels great.
And like you were
than
saying
that,
earlier,
yo.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Like you're saying earlier, when they're older, right? My dream, whatever they choose to do.
Bro.
Because I don't want to be lost in my kids' lives.
Yeah.
Like
Not
I
at
don't
all,
I don't know what it is. Like I don't want my kids to hate me.
Yo,
I don't care about the world hating me, but I don't want my kids to hate me. We can disagree, we can fight. That's cool.
and when you ask me and the questions about what do I fear most, I don't know if I answered that question.
You said
But I did say
you don't want to lose yourself.
I don't want to lose myself.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think now when I think about it, my fear is actually losing my kids.
Yeah. Not in death.
Yeah, not in death
that's-
because
yeah. Yeah, losing them.
could you lose your mind now
Yo,
over
not
some
lose my mind,
stuff?
bro. If my kids, like if I didn't speak to my kids,
Oh,
and when they're older, like my dream, like you were talking about, like I'm just seeing the one day, graduate, you shada, whatever,
it's-
and he's thanking his dad.
yo,
Like that's just, you know what I mean?
bro, I don't know how. I'm sure I'll cry. Bro. I'm sure I'm gonna cry.
Yeah, no, for sure, me too. And I'm like, yo, thank you, I've contributed, because that's all you want. But that's what I'm saying.
bro.
Is that when we get lost in what we deem is
Yeah.
important, right? Things of the world, things that are fleeting,
Yeah.
things that could change at any time,
Anytime.
things that we don't own, things that are other people. It's like the love that you have for kid, for family, for connection,
Yeah.
right? It's unconditional
Yeah,
love. It's not
definitely.
something that
Definitely.
there's no condition.
Yeah.
Your kids don't give a shit, King Gutu when
Bro, they don't care, bro.
Like you're their dad, and that's
I
it.
mean, like I always look at my daughter, like she sometimes sees me performing. Bro, after that, back to normal. I'm not a celebrity.
No,
or whatever. Nah, she doesn't care. She's like, hey, daddy, I want this, I want this. She
Yeah.
doesn't care whether you were playing there, you're tired or whatever. No. She just knows that, okay, now I want this, and my dad is going to
Must
get
provide.
you
No,
know?
that's awesome.
And it's one of those things, man. But I think for me, from now on, I think we need to push it to a point where like we become a community
Yeah.
of dads. I mean, recently I'm seeing a lot of like movements where guys are starting movements. Like there's one that I know which is called Cool Dads.
Yeah.
So those guys, they meet every month. They take their kids, just the dads with their kids, you know, daughters and sons, and they come and chill together, you know, and then they engage in stuff, and then they start having fun and all that stuff with the kids, you know, because they want to change the whole narrative around fatherhood, you know, around dads and how we've always had the stigma that it's in a sequel.
Yeah. Plus
Like
also
at all,
it's a mommy's thing.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's, guys, it's really not.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm thinking about it when Tessa is cooking, like who must look after the kids
You
if
know?
you're in the house? Like if she's cleaning, how do you keep these boys, you know,
Yeah.
in the corner until she's done?
And
You
it's
know,
not even
and-
also not just that, it's that it's a partnership.
Yeah, it's a partnership.
Things must get
bruh.
done.
Yes, things must get done. So I mean, like, bruh, every day when I wake up, I try and push myself. You know, because right now my situation is my wife goes to the office more than I do. And obviously now, if I'm there and I'm working from home, I can look after the boy, you know, because the thing is also, like, in as much as we think women are strong, women are not strong in everything. Bruh. Like, there's certain things that they also struggle with.
Yeah,
I know my wife.
They people.
My wife can't work with my boy busy screaming there, whether he's playing or not. She just can't work,
Yeah.
you know. But I can.
Same.
Because I don't.
When I connection here about these children, it's like he's unhappy. I'm like, yeah, okay. Let's go to the meeting. You'll be fine.
You know, for me, I'm just like, I can sit in a meeting with this boy busy screaming.
Same here.
You know, and I can clean. I can do dishes and all that stuff. But not all women are like that. You know, some women can handle that whole thing, but some women can't.
Yeah,
you
no,
know,
my wife can't stand the kids crying.
Yo,
It's
bruh.
like it does something in her head.
Aye, bruh.
Them
And
being in any kind of pain, yo.
it's
Nothing
a problem,
works.
bruh. That's what I mean. I don't panic in most cases. I mean, I've seen my wife really stressed, and I'd be like, okay, maybe let me try to do something. Let me take the kids, or maybe go somewhere so that you know she can
just you have a
calm down,
breathing
stuff. You know, because those things, I don't want to have an idea where I'm like, but you can handle it, and then I'm out.
No.
You know,
But also, it's your kids.
Exactly.
That's
bruh.
my thing.
So, and
like,
push it,
ngizobashiya
bruh.
nobani.
Take your kids to work with you.
Yeah.
At work, they know you have kids.
That's the first thing I tell them. I've got kids. And my kids will come back. I need to do stuff.
The thing is, it's time we prioritize our kids, bruh. You know, over our jobs, over anything that we do. Bruh, sometimes it's tough. I can't take but I take them anyways. You know, especially my daughter, I take her, you know, and like she's asthmatic, and sometimes like I'm afraid like it's so cold and all that stuff, and she loves like running and all that stuff. But I would go anyways because I'm like, I'll sort it out later. You know, it's not like I'm gonna let it die or whatever. I take her with and we go. You know, later on, if was valigile, I come nebulize and all that stuff. You know, because I'm like, she needs to know that I'm there.
Yeah.
You know, she needs to
and
know that I'm there. Like
in all your whatever.
You know, in everything.
Yeah,
she can't have one picture of home.
Yeah,
no, that's not cool. Sometimes she needs to see me at the park.
Yeah,
there. She's
or even
playing
as a Spaniard, like you say, like doing this,
you know,
stressing about that.
She knows what I'm doing now. Every time when I say I'm going to work, sometimes I can't take it because I'm like, hey, today's gonna be a hectic day, so I can't. You know, but I can say that probably 80% of the time I take her with, you know, because I'm like, she's my priority, and she needs to know that she's my priority. You know, I put her there over anything that I do, you know, and that's just it for me. I'm like, we need to change the narrative as much as possible.
No,
you know, being a father who's present for their kids and all that stuff doesn't make us weak or whatever. You know, it's actually making us become better people. You know, at doing things, because also these guys, they teach you stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, I mean, I saw how you were interacting with you now when you started throwing at the trap. Because for me, I'm like, shucks. If it was me, I was going to lose it also.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, no, but you can't lose it. I'm telling you what you need to do. So now I'm learning. I'm like, actually, sometimes you need to calm down.
Yeah.
Because if she's throwing a tantrum and you also, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You know, and she needs to get to a point where she's like, oh, shucks, okay, let me listen, because she's actually calm and stuff.
And it also depends, what are you trying to achieve?
Yes.
And at that time, because sometimes I'd be like, we're doing that thing, and I'd fight. But I'm like, we need to record. If I escalate this thing now,
and it's boys.
Exactly.
Remember, it's a boy. You can't.
Hey, I'll tell you. So, in conclusion, the 3 to 5 tools, tricks, habits. So you've touched on community of other fathers.
Yeah.
And this is an interesting one.
Yeah.
Which is something that a lot of guys don't do.
Okay.
You said read books that will sharpen your character as a father.
Yeah.
Expand on that, and then do you have examples of these books?
Shucks, bro. Why am I forgetting this book? And there was one book in particular that I forgot its name. So, bruh, in as much as I'm saying read, I'm not this guy who goes and buys like books and reads and reads. Like, I can read one book for like a whole year, like do a repeat of it. You know, I don't know why I'm forgetting this book. But it's around fatherhood, you know, and how we need to educate ourselves, you know, around fatherhood, you know, and try find homes that have dads who are like really, really present.
Yeah.
You know, and try and find out how you can change, how you do fatherhood and stuff. But I have found for myself that reading also does really help, with certain things. As long as you're reading something around what you wanna, So I'm always looking. It's around stuff like around being a husband and a father.
Yeah.
So anything, any book or any podcast or whatever that's around fatherhood and being a husband, I'm there.
Okay.
Because that's my daily life. I have to, always sharpen myself. But if I remember this book,
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
And then the second one, I think you were saying here, mistakes will happen. Always keep your head up.
No, bruh. There's no other way.
Ne?
For me, because, looking at the conversation we had around our fathers and stuff, but it's easy to, to be down when you've made a mistake because you grew up with that whole thing. I would say, I don't know what to do and all that stuff. Because if your dad always crushed everything that you did, obviously that makes you, And the thing is, the truth about it is whether you did nothing wrong or mistakes are still going to happen.
Especially with your kids.
Exactly.
Because it kills you. I'm shy sometimes.
That thing is...
But you got to go fix it.
You have to go fix it because now, and the thing is, every day or every week or whenever, there's going to be a mistake that happens. But now it doesn't mean that it doesn't make you any less of a father or anything at all. Just accept that it happened. Accept it as if you would accept making a mistake at work, or making a mistake endlessly more driver and you cut someone off and you didn't take it like that. I'll stop and then you feel bad and you keep moving, because now, in as much as your kids have to see you vulnerable and stuff, but they need to learn that, okay, you don't sit in that dark corner. You stand up, you start moving also. But now learn from that mistake and move towards the right direction. Still move to where you want to move. So don't just, feel like, I'm not doing anything right. And there'll always be criticism and stuff. But there's always good criticism. There's always bad. You take the one that really works for you. You move, bro.
Cool, fantastic. Yeah. That's it, brother. Thank you so much for sharing and coming through, man. I really appreciate that.
Oh, good. Yeah,
awesome.
This is, bro. I wish you all the best, man.
Yeah.
I know this is gonna blow up. Because there are a lot of guys who really are open to these kind of things, because there's so much to learn around, recently I've been seeing a lot of guys trying to take responsibility when it comes to kids, because some guys ran away. And now they're feeling like, shucks, I'm gonna miss out, because now the guys around are changing, bro. Hence I'm talking about the whole community thing. I'm definitely sure when those guys are sitting in that park with their kids and stuff, and it's all dads, someone would obviously stand there and watch, because it's this is amazing. It's just dads and their kids, and it's crazy. So that changes something around the atmosphere also, around their environment and around communities. You see, because a lot of guys also have their dads have come around in some way.
I need to get to that age now where you do talk and they sing their grandkids and
so now everything changes, and now when they see you,
because they see how you are with your kids.
Now they want to use that time to say, let me be there for my son and stuff, so man, it's great, man. I really hope that you don't give up.
No, I will not.
It's really important, my guy. Just keep doing it, man. We need to engage in these conversations, and I would love to come back at some point.
No, we will definitely, man. I appreciate that.
It's so cool, brother. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you also for making it all the way to the end of this podcast. Please remember, don't forget, You need to get on your favorite streaming service. You need to rate this podcast. It really, really, really helps us. And you need to subscribe as well so you can get notifications for when next episodes are coming. You can find me on social media, Ki Tepopule. Otherwise, that is the Timers Playbook for this episode. I'll see you on the next one. Sharp.
Oh, wait.
That was the Timers Playbook. Thank you for listening. See you on the next episode.